Hey everyone, this is Stefan James from ProjectLifeMastery.com, and today I'm going to share with you guys what I eat every single day to have unstoppable energy. Now, if you guys follow any of my content and you guys know my life mastery blueprint, right, the different areas of life that you got to master, the foundation of that is your health. It's your physical body. Because I believe that you got to master that in order to really get what you want in life. You know, everything that you want in life is going to require a tremendous amount of energy. If you want to build a business, if you want to make more money, if you want to achieve your goals and dreams, it's going to require a tremendous amount of energy in order for you to make that happen. If you want to have a great relationship and have passion, that's all about energy. And I see a lot of people, they're eating in a way that's not supporting their body. It's actually at the cost of their energy, and they're tired. You know, they're fatigued. They don't have the energy to pursue their goals and dreams. They're exhausted all throughout the day and after work and whatnot. So I really believe, guys, in fueling your body with the right fuel. Your body is one of the greatest gifts that you've been given. It's your temple. You got to make sure you take amazing care of it. You know, the example that I often use is that our body is like a Ferrari. It's a sports car. And how well we maintain that and the fuel that we put into it is going to determine what we get out of it. So we want to make sure that we take amazing care of our body so that we can do more, be more, give more, and achieve our goals. Now, I've done a similar video like this a few years ago, back when I was doing a fitness competition. My diet has changed. I've modified it quite a bit. Back then, I was more following a macro diet, so making sure I get a certain amount of protein, carbs, and fat. Now it's a lot more loose. I primarily make sure that I'm fueling my body for health purposes. And then I do love working out and training at the gym, so I want to make sure that I get the right nutrition that my body needs to fuel my workouts, but also to ensure that I can recover and make sure that I look good as well. Before I share with you guys here the foods that I put in my body and what I eat every day, I first want to mention that I always do intermittent fasting every day. So I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. Basically what it means is that I fast 12 to 16 hours a day, okay? And there's so many incredible benefits to intermittent fasting that you guys can look into. One of which is fat loss. Another is that you have more energy because you're giving your body a break. Your body's not always working to digest food, which is an expenditure of energy. It's one of the biggest expenditures of energy in our body is digestion. And so just by having more time throughout the day of not putting anything in, allowing your body to go into a fasting state, your body is able to focus on detoxing, fat loss. It's going to burn fat for fuel oftentimes if you can get into a state of ketosis. Hormone production, a lot of amazing benefits you guys could look into. I will mention I do it every day, but I do cycle it at times too, because you got to look into if you do intermittent fasting for too long, especially I think for women, it can kind of have some negative effects to your hormones. So something for you guys to look into. So if I had my last meal, let's say at 8 p.m. last night, 12 hours from then would be 8 a.m. in the morning, and then I'll usually wait another 2 to 4 hours after that. So if my last meal is 8 p.m., then my first meal that I'm going to have is maybe 10 a.m. or maybe noon, okay? And I love intermittent fasting because I mentioned the energy benefit. I found for myself that I have more mental focus. I'm a big fan in terms of how I start the day, my rituals and whatnot, to make sure that I can really tackle the highest leverage things in the morning. And I don't like to be bogged down by, having a certain meal that my energy kind of drops. I like to kind of delay that for as long as I can, utilize the energy that I get from that before having my first meal. So I do that first. Next, what I usually do to break my fast is I have more liquid nutrition that doesn't have a lot of fiber that my body has to focus on digestion. Now, I have a lot of fiber in my diet, which I'm going to share with you guys, but one of the benefits of not putting too much fiber in your body right away is that you can also extend your body's ability to be in that detox mode of eliminating toxins, not having to use to focus on digestion. You get more energy production from it. So the first things I put in my body is cold pressed juices. Okay, this is a green juice. It's cold pressed, it's organic. Right now I'm traveling, I'm in Los Angeles right now, so the foods that I have, I go to Erewhon or Whole Foods. But I'm a big fan of making sure that what I put into my body is the highest quality, organic. I understand it costs more money, but I think it's worth it just to make sure that you put the best quality fuel in your Ferrari to get the the best benefit from it. So this here has organic celery, organic lemon, organic cucumber, ginger, kale, dandelion, and parsley. I try to avoid a lot of fruit because you got to understand with juices, it's a highly concentrated amount of vegetables. And a lot of people, what happens is they, might have like apple juice or orange juice. But when you juice something like that, fruits, you're also getting a lot of sugar, which can have a lot of negative effects for you. So sometimes I'll sweeten it a little bit with some apple, but making sure I don't have too much apple. But what I prefer instead to kind of give it more flavor, because sometimes the greens doesn't taste that great, is the lemon and ginger. So that kind of adds a kick to it and makes it taste a lot better. So I love juices. Because I travel different places, I can't travel around with a juicer all the time, but that's the most cost-efficient way of going about it. Invest in a juicer. Back in 2012, 2013, I did a video all about juicing, which I love. I've been doing it for many, many years. And one saying that I've heard that I believe in is that if you can't afford a juicer, sell your car, because a juicer will get you further in life. Really believe that. So right here, guys, I'm getting so much nutrition into my bloodstream, a concentrated amount. I mean, if you were to actually determine how much vegetables this is right here, it'd be a ton of vegetables that I'm putting in my body that I wouldn't be able to get as much nutrition, because if I did not extract the fiber would actually fill me up and I wouldn't get as much nutrition versus when I juice it. And I love the fiber, don't get me wrong. I know there's always that debate that people have. I love smoothies and things like that too as a great way to get in the fiber. So there's a lot of benefit of the fiber also. But I think how you use juicing is great. Now, the other thing that I put in my body is I love these little shots here. So this shot here, there's a variety that I take, but this is an anti-candida one. This has ginger, lemon, apple cider vinegar, has cayenne pepper, oil of oregano, a lot of great health benefits putting this into your body. Sometimes I also put in some apple cider vinegar. Okay, I love this Bragg's organic, unfiltered, raw apple cider vinegar with mother. Great health benefits for blood sugar and a lot of great benefits you guys could look into. So I put those things on my body first. And then I like to make sure that I get my essential fatty acids. So this is Udo's oil. Many of you guys might remember I did an interview with Dr. Udo Erasmus on my YouTube channel. Amazing human being, but Udo's oil is a very popular blend of omega-3s, 6s, and 9s. Great benefits to your cognitive function, your brain health. Making sure you're getting those omega-3s is very important. This one has DHA in it, which is also important to make sure you try to get as well. And this is all plant-based, so they don't use any fish oils. So it's like flaxseed oils and pumpkin oil, I think, and sunflower seed oil, evening primrose seed oil, and a variety of other ones. So I've got my good fats. I've got some good sources of carbs that's very low glycemic. And then I also put in some protein. So I'm a big fan of plant-based proteins. Back years ago, I used to have a lot of whey proteins and casein proteins. I've avoided those. I haven't had those in many years. I found that the body has a hard time digesting those. Often it can be very processed and can actually contribute to building up a mucoid plaque in your intestines, which can actually have a lot of negative effects in terms of your body's ability to digest and absorb protein nutrition. So I like to use plant-based proteins. This here has 5 different protein sources: hemp protein, rice protein, quinoa protein, pea protein, and a variety of others. This is Sun Warrior protein. I do like to cycle different brands. Sometimes I like Garden of Life. Some of you guys saw that I interviewed Mike Rashid on my channel. He's got his blend called Planta, which is a plant-based protein. But I like to cycle things because your body can actually develop food sensitivities when you have some of the same things every single day. So I like to kind of cycle them at different times. And then I also sometimes use collagen protein because there's a lot of great benefits to collagen. Great for your skin, great for muscle recovery, great benefits for your hair, nail production, all of that. So I usually put in 2 scoops of this. It ends up being about 34 grams of protein. It has some fiber in it as well, but that's usually what I'm doing to start off my day. My body doesn't have to focus too much on digestion. I still have great energy. I can still get a lot more done with that energy. And I try to make sure, the first part of my day, I'm not too consumed with food. I'm usually being the most productive that I can possibly be. So I found that the intermittent fasting combined with this really supports that in an amazing way. Then after that, usually I like to work out a little bit later on in the day. Sometimes I switch this up because sometimes as part of my morning ritual, I do some slow, like a more aerobic cardio that is at a certain heart rate, which is great for fat burning. But if I'm gonna lift weights, I do like to make sure that I've got a good source of carbohydrates in my body to make sure that my muscles have the glycogen so that I can really have the power, the endurance that I want in the gym. So usually what I like to do before my workout, usually about an hour, hour and a half before, is I make some oatmeal. Okay, so this is organic oatmeal. I try to avoid any of them that add in all the sweeteners and all the junk to it. So I love oatmeal. Usually I take 2 packets of oatmeal. If you can do steel cutouts, even better, although I just don't like the texture of them that much. But usually what I do is I take this, I put it in a pot. I oftentimes will put in some protein as well, can add a little bit of flavor to it. I love cinnamon, great health benefits to cinnamon, makes it taste good too. So I throw in some of that. And then if I ever want to sweeten things, I use stevia. So stevia leaf is great, 0 calories, much better than artificial sweeteners like aspartame, a lot better for you. So stevia is great. I always love these little packets that you can get. You can bring them around with you everywhere. Really handy to have. And so usually what I do is I make my oatmeal, I have that. Sometimes I'll have some more protein, okay? Or what I also love as a source of protein is bone broth, okay? This is organic turkey bone broth. This is free-range turkey bones. Great source of protein, great for your gut microbiome, your skin, all those different things. So I love bone broth, great benefits to that. And then also sometimes what I do instead of the oatmeal, because I do like to switch things up, is I love brown rice cakes. Brown rice cakes are great. I usually take out these rice cakes and then I put on some almond butter. And then sometimes if I want to add to enhance it even further, I'll kind of chop up a banana or some apple. I'll put that on top. I'll sprinkle on some cinnamon. I'll sprinkle on some stevia. And that's a great source of quality carbohydrates that can then support my workout. And then after my workout, I want to make sure that I can refuel my body. So I like to also use, again, the plant-based protein or the bone broth. Sometimes I make a smoothie in my Vitamix blender where I'll add in some frozen berries. So strawberries, for example. Again, trying to stay as organic as I possibly can, although sometimes when you're traveling, it can be a little bit more difficult to do that. But I love blueberries, which I also call brain berries. Has a lot of great benefits to your brain for them. Great source of antioxidants. So usually I add in berries, and then usually I mix my smoothies with water or some almond milk. Okay, so I try to avoid dairy, whatsoever. And then usually what I do with that is I just put it in a shaker cup like this. I always travel around with one of these. This is a blender bottle. This is BPA free. You got to be aware of plastic. So I do try to use glass whenever I can. It's just a lot heavier to travel with, but make sure that you got a good quality bottle. But I'll just throw in a scoop of protein with water, shake it up. Sometimes I might add in some cinnamon or stevia, and then I just drink that. So that allows me to refuel my body. After that, later on in the day, I love to make salads. So salads, usually if I'm making it myself, it's pretty simple and plain, because when I travel, I always try to make sure that I'm as close as possible to like an organic health food store. That has always been a game changer for me. So whenever I travel, I try to make sure that there's an organic food store, there's a gym, like all that's nearby so that I can get access to these foods. But right now we're staying close to Erewhon. Erewhon is kind of like a Whole Foods. They have a salad bar. They've got just great quality ingredients and vegetables that I can make a salad with. This salad here, which I actually have 2 of these a day, okay? Basically, first I always start off my salads with a base of greens. Making sure that you get greens is very important because anything that's green, especially the darker the greens, the more chlorophyll that it has, which is very similar to the hemoglobin in our blood. And the chlorophyll is getting all the energy from the sun. So when you put that into your body, it's building your blood, you're getting all that life energy. So I put in spinach, I put in kale, arugula, a variety of different greens, whatever is available. Sometimes when you travel, you don't have access to that much, but I throw in some greens here. I've got broccoli, which is amazing for you. I've got radishes, onions, purple cabbage. Here's a little tip for you guys when it comes to vegetables. Using ones with color is incredibly beneficial because the pigmentation of it is going to provide more antioxidants. So if you're going to have onions, it's better to have purple onions than white onions because the pigmentation is going to give you more antioxidants to your body. So it's got some parsley in here. It's got a variety of different things. And then I also put on some organic chicken. So I'm getting a good source of protein there. And then I always avoid a lot of the dressings because a lot of them, they can have a lot of sugar in it and not be good for you. So the favorite things that I often use for my salads is I put on some olive oil, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, okay? This one also has flax seeds and chia seeds, which is a great source of essential fatty acids as well, good source of protein as well. But yeah, it's pretty simple, guys. And what I've found is that when you're eating this way, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking it's kind of a boring way to eat, probably doesn't taste good, but your palate changes when you change your diet over a period of time. A lot of people, they might have vegetables and it kind of tastes bitter, doesn't taste good for them. But once you eat in a certain way, your whole palate and taste buds change and you can actually taste all the flavor from these foods. So I actually enjoy this. And I find that when I eat high sugar foods, when I eat processed foods, when I eat things that are not supportive of my body and health, my body lets me know right away. Usually it's too sweet and I don't like it. Like it doesn't taste good for me. So you can reprogram your taste buds by changing the way that you eat and your body ends up craving more of these healthy foods. You get rid of a lot of withdrawal symptoms, sugar cravings and whatnot, and you feel satiated. And for me, I never want to be too full. I just want to make sure that I give my body what it needs. A lot of the fiber that I have in these salads here, they fill me up and they, basically ensure that I'm not overeating. I'm not eating too much. I'm not having those cravings that a lot of people have. And it supports my energy, makes me feel light throughout the day, and supports what I'm trying to do. And it's also important as well because when I sleep at night, I want to get as deep sleep possible. And sometimes when your body is so focused on digestion and you're eating foods that your body has to expend a lot of energy to digest, you're spending 10, 12 hours to digest something, then that's going to be at a cost of your sleep and your energy for the next day. So making sure that I eat foods that support me with that. Now, if there are times where I do want more, I have a craving, there's certain foods that I can go to. So again, I love making the oatmeal. And with oatmeal, one thing I forgot to mention is I add in berries too. And for me, that's kind of like always a treat that whenever I have it, it tastes amazing for me. So oatmeal's something that if I want more in the evening time, I'll make that. Also, if you have a Vitamix blender, one of my favorite things to make with it is ice cream. And it's very simple to do with frozen berries or frozen bananas. So all you do with a Vitamix is you throw in, a cup or so of frozen strawberries. You put in a little bit of almond milk, and then you put in some vanilla extract and some stevia. And with a Vitamix blender, you can blend that up into a texture that it tastes like ice cream. And it's low calories, pretty low glycemic, low sugar, and it tastes amazing. So that's one of my favorite go-tos that I'll make if I'm needing something like that. And then also, going back to the brown rice cakes, for me, almond butter is kind of like a treat food, and you can kind of overdo it a little bit. But, if I have that craving, I'll have some rice cakes with some almond butter, some stevia, some banana on top, or just kind of spice it up a little bit with that too. And for me, that satiates me. But that's pretty much it, guys. Other than that, I try to stay away from a lot of stimulants. This is matcha green tea, so if I don't like to be dependent on anything like caffeine, because then when you're dependent on caffeine, you try to go off of it, you're going to have withdrawals, you're going to get headaches, and it can also wear out your adrenal glands too. So a lot of people, they can't function without it. So I try to avoid coffees and whatnot. Sometimes I might have it once in a while, but matcha green tea is great. You get the caffeine from that, but there's a lot of great antioxidants from it, but I just try to make sure I don't use it too much. So matcha green tea is great. I also like using nutritional yeast. It's a great source of B vitamins, and I can kind of sprinkle it on top of things as well. I get different nuts like almonds, Brazil nuts, walnuts. So I like to have those too. It's not much else. I mean, I have these like flax seed crackers, which are okay. And sometimes I get like a guacamole or something and eat this with it. But it's a pretty simple diet. And I think a lot of it, guys, stems from the mindset that I have is I look at food as a source of fuel for my body. I want to make sure that I'm providing my body what it needs to be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish in my life. And I don't try to go to food that much for comfort or enjoyment or for fun or pleasure that a lot of other people do. And don't get me wrong, I do go off this diet once in a while. For example, like Tatiana and I, we like to eat out once in a while too, but we just try to make sure that's not our daily habit. So there's times like when we travel, we love to try different foods, and we feel like we'd be missing out in life if we didn't do that. So when we go to Las Vegas or we go to Singapore or Dubai or some of these amazing places, we want to make sure that we can also give ourselves permission to allow ourselves to cheat, I guess, and enjoy ourselves, right? So that might be going to get a steak or a burger or those foods that you can have once in a while in moderation, but it's not your everyday diet. So we do that. We do enjoy the different foods when we travel the world and everything. But for the most part, I try to make things as simple, as easy as possible to make sure that my body gets what it needs. And one belief that I have is that nothing tastes as good as healthy and fit feels. And I feel that a lot of people, guys, they've never really experienced what it's like to have amazing energy, amazing mental clarity throughout the day. Just feeling so good in your body because you're fueling it with the right foods, because I believe that what we put into our body has an energetic value. You put in crap, you're gonna feel like crap. You put in healthy, nutritious food, you're gonna feel great. It's a mind-body connection, right? It's gonna elevate your mood and your mental well-being. So nothing tastes as good as healthy and fit feels. And this is what I try to do the best that I can. I'm not perfect with it, but I thought I'd share this with you guys, and hopefully you guys can get some benefit and value from what I do here. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.